What's up, guys? How is everyone? Everyone, we're going to take, first of all, thank you so much for being here. We got a bunch of people on here. We have about 20 attendees. I'm going to give it like five minutes. I know there's some people still trickling in. If you notice on the left-hand side of your screen, there's a chat box, so you guys can feel free to chat amongst yourselves. I have a couple of people helping out here tonight to be able to answer questions and things like that. And the general format is we're going to do about 30 minutes of presentation, then we'll leave some time for Q&A. So I'm going to go in here. I see a couple people asking questions. Jules at Jules Arthur says, hi, Clint. Hi, Jules at Jules Arthur. Very nice to meet you. Put a lot of work into the lighting and setup tonight. We tried all kinds of microphones. So I wanted to give a little different format because I've watched tons of boring webinars. So hopefully you guys took some time to think about your worksheet and all that, questions that you're facing in your business. Brian Castle, Kathy Argaros, very nice to see you here. What's up, guys? Let's see, it's 8 o'clock right now. We're gonna give it, we'll say 8:05, we'll get rocking. I hope everyone can see behind me, my slides, everything like that. I've spent all week trying to just get this set up perfectly for you to make it the best experience possible. Let me, you know what, actually, let's take advantage of some of the features on here. Real quick, on the left-hand side of the screen, there should be this opportunity to chat. I want to know who of you in this room right now currently works in some capacity as a self-employed consultant. You can just answer in the chat box. Let's hear it. Taking a poll here. Can you guys see the chat box on the left-hand side of the screen? All right. We have, it's 8:03. Let's just get going. We have one person chiming in here. Beautiful. All right, hey, everyone at once. Cool. All right, well, it's very nice to be here tonight. Thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule. It really means a lot. It's obviously something that I would never take for granted. I'm going to walk you through tonight what I found to be the most effective marketing and sales process that I've developed over the past 3 years. And I have a course coming out on November 15th that I'm going to tell you a little bit more about, but this is really probably some of the most valuable and important information within it. And I want to walk you through my process that has just dramatically transformed my business, allowed me to go from about maybe $16,000 total my first year to last month build out a little over $20,000. So I don't say that to boast or anything. I just want to emphasize the power of having a really powerful marketing process. So for those of you who don't know me or meeting me for the first time, my name is Clint Warren. I'm the founder of Stacked Agency. I turned my freelance business into an agency with, started it with my buddy Brian Castle. He's since moved on to work on his startup. And my journey into freelancing was kind of, we'll say, unusual. I was arrested for trafficking marijuana in 2011. It's certainly not something I'm proud of. I'm just being real with you guys. I struggled with a lot of drug and alcohol problems the majority of my adult life. And it brought me to some of the darkest places imaginable. And I was at this point in my life where I got arrested, my whole world imploded, and I'd spent my entire life letting people down, letting myself down. I know my mom is on this call, so I'm going to give a big shout out to her. I let everyone down. And I really sat at that point in jail and said, Clint, you can continue going down this path of despair, humiliation, and defeat, or you could dig down right now and do whatever you could to turn your life around and start moving in a different direction. So I got bailed out of jail. I went to rehab and I got sober and really began to change the direction of my life. But with a pending prison sentence and a lot of court to resolve, it was essential that I found some way to make a living, and my options were very limited. And what I did is I taught myself web design, and I started to learn about online marketing. And I began to go door to door and just kind of hustle, ask friends, family, relatives if they needed my services. And what I did is initially, I got those first couple clients, but then I hit a wall. You can only sort of badger people so much. Do you need more? Do you have other people that may need the services? So I ran into the classic problem, and I don't even have to ask a poll. Anyone in here who's a freelancer who has been in this situation before can feel my pain of that fear and uncertainty of not knowing where the next client's going to come from. I remember those moments of doubt where I just said, I'm capable, I'm good at what I do. How do I let people know that? How do I get paid what I'm worth? And that seems to be, when I mentor a lot of people now who are freelancers, the biggest thing. The biggest problem that I find people face is struggling to bring in that stream, a steady stream of qualified clients. Now, I want to mention here that although I am in the web design space, what I'm about to show you applies to any freelance consulting profession. You could be someone who's a marketing professional, a PR person, a media person, a graphic designer, a web designer, a developer. I've worked with people who are like health and wellness consultants. Anything in that capacity, if you're a self-employed consultant, what I'm about to show you, when applied diligently and properly, will help bring in that steady stream of qualified clients. So the big turning point for me came in early 2012. I had tapped out those initial resources and referrals. And the first turning point was I volunteered to speak at a networking group. And I volunteered on this topic that I knew nothing about, but I got up in front of people. I had rehearsed so much and studied so hard, and I presented. And a crazy thing happened. A woman came up to me after and said, I need, someone to work on site one day a week consulting with me. I said, yeah, of course. It's like music to my ears, steady income. Perfect. I got invited to that same talk again in New York. And then I met a friend and mentor of mine, Alex Miranda. So that was turning point number one, because I realized something kind of critical, that if I can get up in front of people and speak, it will help bring me business. Alex taught me a lot about search engine optimization and blogging strategy. So what I started to do next was I started writing and blogging online. And I'd always kind of like poo-pooed blogging in the past, like, I don't have time to, post pictures and stuff like that. I didn't take it very seriously. But I took what Alex applied and said and began to optimize my website and put out very targeted blog posts that were going to help me grow my business. And I'll never forget the day when the phone started ringing the first time and a guy called me and he was like, yeah, I found you online. I was like, dude, awesome. That was music to my ears, because now my phone was ringing, but I was still had this sort of haphazard approach and a lot of duplication of efforts. So I want to cover a couple things tonight. And I want to tell you first and foremost that I'm going to keep this presentation short and sweet. I'm not going to waste your time. I certainly, will give you the honor of we're going to burn through this. I'm going to give you the most valuable material, hopefully, that you've seen on any kind of workshop. And I want to keep it straight and to the point, because I've seen a lot of ones where it's like voiceover slides and stuff like that. And that's just not my style. That's not how I teach. So what we're going to cover is two very important things. The first is inbound marketing strategy. How do I get the people to call me? That's like the holy grail, right? How do I get my phone ringing? There's two components to that. I'm going to show you my whole blueprint, my system, through content marketing and education-based marketing. And then, you're going to get to a point in your career, as I did, where there's certain people that are just not going to respond to that. They're not going to come to your events. They're not going to read your blog. How do you then target them very specifically? So I want to reveal for the first time very publicly my outbound marketing strategy. And what outbound marketing is really laser targeting these specific dream clients, and scary word, I know, cold outreach. But I want to show you ways to warm up these prospects so it's not so cold. So it's not just like, really like cold calling. I worked in finance, and my idea of cold outreach back then was my mentor, Josh, duct taping my hand to a phone and taking my chair away and just saying, here's the list, have fun. But I want to show you ways to remove the intimidation factor and more friendly ways to warm up the lead and get to them and begin to just pack that funnel full of clients. So let's talk first about inbound marketing. I'm going to give you the broad overview of my tried and true system. This is sort of, to me, it's like that holy grail of marketing. It's like, if I do X, Y, Z, I know it's going to yield new business. I guarantee you, if you apply this properly, it will yield new business every time you work through the sequence. So here's how it works. Ready? And by the way, I'm going to email these slides out. So if you're jotting down feverish notes, you'll get a replay of the video and a link to the slides. Step 1, identify topics of interest. I got to put interest here because I've done plenty of times where I've thought stuff was interesting, but apparently it wasn't interesting for anyone else. So I'm going to show you how I do that. Research goes without saying, but a pretty critical step to do this properly. Create content and optimize, and I'll show you how I do that. Promote the content, so don't just pray that people are going to find it through search engines. Actively promote it through the right channels. Repackage it into a presentation. Promote, present, repeat, and last but not least, initiate a follow-up sequence. So that's the broad overview, and I'm sorry I'm cutting off some of the words there, but I want to show you exactly what it looks like. That's, believe me, you could follow steps 1 through 4, 1 through 3 even, as I did, and be very successful. But I'm going to show you, dive in step by step, exactly how I do this. So the first piece is identify topics of interest. So give me a sec here while I hop in on a screen share. I'm going to actually show you a cool tool that I use. It's called BuzzSumo. So BuzzSumo, if I can just pull it up here, is a tool where you can actually go in. It's totally free. And you can search within your industry. So let's say I'm a social media expert. I mean, my thing is WordPress. So I'm just going to use that as an example. So I can type in WordPress and I can see, I could look at articles over the past month and I'll filter it. And just start to see, based on how many people are liking it on social media, what the top performing pieces of content based around WordPress are. So 7 WordPress plugins, things like that. I'll let you guys play around with this, but the general gist of this, let me just get back to my screen here. The general gist of this is that I use BuzzSumo to start exploring what pieces of content are performing really well online, in my space. The next thing is I start to look through online forums, because generally you think about it, as a consultant, your job is to solve problems and find people's pain points. What are the issues they're having? So I'll dig through forums, and whatever industry you're in, you can look through these forums and start to identify common questions. Your job as a consultant is to solve and answer these questions. So this is a great place to start. And the other thing I've been doing a lot lately that's been inspired by friend and mentor Brian Castle is survey the audience. So you can do that a couple ways. Brian wrote a great article on sending out a questionnaire to an email list. And that's something I've experimented with a little bit at certain points, is sending out a questionnaire to identify what problems they're having and then writing content based around that. Another thing I've been doing is also calling up clients. So asking them, hey, what things do you want to know about? That's how I'll show you some presentation I've done recently based on conversations with clients where I call them up and say, hey, what's a big deal right now? And one example of that is a couple of years ago, responsive web design. That was the big topic. I asked around and people were like, I just need to know about responsive web design. It's like, okay, perfect. There's my topic. So number one, and the reason I say topics of interest, I want to emphasize again, because I've wasted a ton of time before writing about stuff that I thought it was interesting, but no one else did. So don't make that mistake, because you're going to waste a lot of energy in the next 8 steps. Okay, so the second piece here obviously is research. I'm not going to dive in too much into how to research, but what I always do first is I ask my mentors. If you don't have mentors, find them immediately. find the people who are rock stars in your field and build relationships with them. I have plenty of ways I can show you how to do that. It's a separate discussion. But I ask them first, what are the best resources on this topic? And the next thing I do is I just create an outline in Google Docs. You can use Evernote, whatever you're comfortable with, but I create this really thorough outline. And I really dig in and identify what are the key points that I'm seeing in every article? What are the key recurring themes? And that becomes the structure for my outline. So with that outline in hand, we're then going to create content. So I create content in the form of a blog post first, and I write it up, and I create a valuable, timeless blog post. You really want, I spent a lot of time blogging early on these, a couple 100-word, 5 tips on social media. Not that exactly, but I really started getting the value of blogging after creating these timeless, invaluable blog posts. So let me show you an example. I'll actually show you a couple things here. Identify the most valuable keywords. Now, what that means is you could be writing a post on how to use Facebook ads, right? Now, you want to identify what terms people are searching for. And I'll show you exactly how I do that. I just wrote an article on how to outsource this whole process. But you're going to find, so it might be Facebook ad optimization. I don't know. I'm just throwing that out there. But you want to identify what keywords, because you're then going to optimize your content using on-page search engine optimization. Now, for those of you whose heads are spinning, I'm actually going to share my screen again and show you. So this is an example of the results of my search engine optimization. Optimizing my content. So if you search for Connecticut CT WordPress right now, you'll find me on the front page, my site. And if you want to see, if you go to clintwarren.com, not clintonwarren.com, I just wrote an article on how to outsource keyword research. So you can just sort of walk through and understand exactly the steps that go into it. And then I also put this article together for you guys for once you have those keywords, how to then optimize your blog post. So what that means is just optimize your content so that people will be able to find it for those given keyword phrases. So let me show you the effects of this. In about 2012, I'll show you all this working together. I created a blog post called Creating an E-commerce Site Using WooCommerce. Now, I want to emphasize, do not get bogged down in any of this jargon or technical stuff. This could be, if you're a health and wellness specialist, the dangerous effects of gluten, anything within your industry. But I knew at that time, there are a lot of people searching for this phrase. So I created this blog post. I optimized it because I knew people were searching for this exact phrase. And I wrote this long, exhaustive guide. You see tons of links and resources in here. This blog post alone still gets me about five calls a month for people all over the country who try to hire me to build WooCommerce-based sites. So that's really the effect of just creating great content and optimizing it. But we're going to take it a step further, because the next thing that I found is it's important to also then promote the content. What does that mean? It means beyond just search, we want to think about ways to put this content in front of people. So there's a really great plugin on for WordPress. And again, I recommend everyone build their site on WordPress. I'm not saying that because I know a lot about it. It's definitely the best platform to be able to easily publish content and integrate. Definitely look into onlywire.com. It's a plugin that will integrate with all your different social channels and bookmarking sites and allow you to publish and push your content through all those channels at once. But what I do is I take it a step further. I do some targeted research. And what that means is I'll look into what forums people are on. I'll look into social bookmarking sites like Dig and reddit.com, reddit.com. And I'll actually then publish my stuff in the certain forums that I know there's people in my industry. So let me quickly share I'll show my Google Analytics dashboard on here. And what that looks like, you see these massive spikes in traffic over the past couple of years? This is when I've been promoting my content heavily and it gets picked up. So this was when I promoted a search engine optimization resource guide. And there were thousands of people on my site on that one time. I had people calling me from all over the country trying to hire me for search engine optimization. And people still call me on a monthly basis just based off that one piece of content. So you could go through those 4 steps alone and be cool. You put out 1 or 2 awesome blog posts a month and you're going to get a lot of traffic to your site. You're going to get it picked up. You're going to have people starting to contact you. That's all good, but I want to take it a step farther. What I realized is that I don't want to duplicate my efforts. The next moneymaker is repackaging that into a presentation. Now, these are not compelling slides. These are intentionally not super compelling because they have to display properly on a TV and project on the screen. But you're going to take your research in your blog post and create slides and a powerful presentation, and then you're going to outreach. So you have 2 options here. My preferred option is to reach out to specific networking groups, libraries, certain networking groups, and depending on whether you need an introduction, sometimes it takes a little effort to get to these groups and say, hey, I have a great presentation that's really going to benefit your audience. Let me come present. I've been doing this for about 1.5 years. Last month, I had 21 speaking engagements. I know it sounds crazy. I was at libraries, Darien Public Library, New Canaan Public Library, Fairfield Public Library, Rotary Club, Kiwanis Club. I'll show you. I am going to be presenting this month. I'll show you an example of this in action again. Let's see. So one of my markets that I perform pretty well in is the female entrepreneurial groups. So I'm presenting this month on online marketing demystified. And this is at over 40 females. And it took a lot of salesmanship to get into this group. It took about 1.5 years, and I had to get a warm introduction to get to the founder. But I'm going to be presenting in front of about 60 female entrepreneurs, and I'm going to do a talk that I've done probably like 15 times. It's always a hit because people are so confused as to how to market online effectively. And if you look for online marketing demystified, I do this talk all over. It's like a very popular talk that I do. I have a chance to improve it. But I outreach, I do this talk at libraries, things like that. One thing that I've also found is you really have to create some very compelling copy. The difference between something called online marketing demystified and how to market yourself online is the difference between 5 attendees and 100. And the people who are helping you promote it don't have time to write compelling copy. They don't even know what you're talking about. So really take the time and the energy to really invest and think of a compelling headline. Run it by some people, ask them if it's something that they would go to, and don't take that for granted. Rehearse, rehearse, rehearse. I can't say this enough. I've been rehearsing this webinar all week. I want to bring the heat, as I say. And whenever I do a presentation, I really see it as an opportunity to just be at the top of my game and position myself as an expert and figure of authority. So what I would say is, do not take it for granted. Every chance that you have to present is a chance to blow people away. My goal every time I present is for people to walk out and say, that was the best presentation I've ever seen in my life. Free or paid, I am blown away. Because I found if you route presentations, I'll move away here a little bit, you're always going to be invited back. So I have ins now at all of these groups that I can always come back and say, hey, I have another presentation. They say, yeah, because everyone loved your last one because you gave a ton of material. You sent everyone the slides, just be a pleasure to work with. Goes without saying. Once you rock it out, you're always going to be welcome back because they're always looking for speakers. Now, it depends. You can either create the event on your own, which I've done too. If you're piggybacking on an event, you also want to be able to promote it. So even though I'm doing females over 40 and they promote it for me, I also then promote it through Craigslist. I'll do under the events section. I'll send it out to my email list. Every event, I want to get as many people there as possible. I'll send it through meetup groups. I run now 5 meetup groups. I'll promote it on LinkedIn, you name it. Everyone and their mother is going to know that I'm speaking at a certain event. And the benefit, obviously, is working with other groups is they handle the promotion as well. So certain groups, when you're in there, you're going to get 50, 60 people. I'm sorry, there's going to be a train going by in a second. Present with passion, goes without saying, but then the last part, repeat. So take that presentation, and here's a real power tip. I always send out the slides the next day. I'll go into the follow-up sequence, but I always let people know, if you found this useful, here's the email of the person who runs this group. Take a minute and let them know what you thought of the presentation. It would mean a lot to me if you gave feedback. And I also ask them for feedback. And then you now have this material that you can then take to other groups. You don't have to duplicate your efforts, and you can continue presenting and just streaming in clients. Now, I did a lot. I did steps 1 through 6 a long time. And I'd get to this point where I'd present to groups of 50, 60, 75 people. And afterwards, a couple people would come up. You know, one person would start hogging me, and it would be tough to get other people's cards. I didn't have a follow-up sequence. And it's a big mistake I made. You have to get their information. You want Clint's pro tip? I want to claim that I invented this. I may have. I don't know. I wasn't told this, so I'm kind of happy that I thought of this. What I found is that what I started to do is pass around a clipboard and say, hey, put your email on here. You know, I'd like to stay in touch with you. Maybe half the people at most would sign up. Then what I started to do is I would pass around that same clipboard. In the beginning, I would say, hey, I'm not posting these slides anywhere online. The only way you can get a copy is clearly print your email on this list, this clipboard I'm passing around. It's the first thing I say. And I have an email going out tomorrow with not only the slides, but some bonus material as well. Suddenly, everyone was opting in, about 100% rate. And magically, everyone's penmanship got so much better, so I could read their emails and enter them in. And what I do the next day is I send out a questionnaire, and I just ask them a couple of questions to figure out a little bit more information about who's in the audience and what I could do to improve. And then it redirects them to a special page where they get the slides and the bonus material. I then have a follow-up sequence that will drip out some information based on their interests, learn a little bit more, and this has dramatically helped. I have people who've been on my email list for a year or so, and out of the blue, they'll pop their head up and just say, hey, you know, thanks, I've been getting your information. I actually have a friend of mine who needs a new website, something like that. So very powerful to build that personal relationship through email. That's the most effective way I found it. So to recap, we identify topics of interest, research the topics, create content and optimize it. And I showed you those couple links. I'll put them in the show notes when I email you guys. Promote the content, repackage it into a presentation, promote, present, repeat, and initiate a follow-up sequence. Cool? Now, we're going to get to a certain point where, you know, some people, we need another shovel in the sand, so to speak. There's some business owners who they're not reading your blog. They're not going to networking events and seeing you speak. They're just too busy. So what happens next? And this was a big step for me towards the beginning of this year of then doing targeted outbound outreach. So instead of waiting for them to come to me, I'm going to make it happen. I'm going to go straight to them. So there's 3 steps that this looks like, 3 or 4. Number 1 is prospecting, figuring out who we want to target. 2, creating valuable, personalized content. Cold outreach, such a scary word, and then phone follow-up. So I'm going to walk you through these steps that have just been, again, another revenue stream, another way to bring in new business. Okay, so step 1, prospecting. What am I looking for when I'm prospecting? What should you be looking for? I look for people who are spending money. And I know someone advertising the Yellow Pages, it's going to vary where you're looking, depending on your industry. But if I know someone's advertising in the Yellow Pages, I know they're spending about $1,000 a month on ads. I know in my industry, I could help them. I can do it better. They're spending their own money in a not very efficient way. I'll look on Craigslist to see who's hiring because I know their business is expanding. They might be in need of my services. I know an IT consultant who does this as well. I look in local luxury magazines. Again, who's advertising, who's spending money. I go on Yelp.com. I see who has multiple office spaces, get a feel for number of employees, things like that. And I've also experimented now too with taking this whole procedure and outsourcing the prospecting. So having other people just carry this out for me because it can be tedious. So I'll show you very quick. If you want to see, let's pull up the screen share very quickly. I'll show you what this looks like. So this was a list I'd created earlier. This was my Yellow Pages list. You know, name, category, URL. I loaded all these people into a CRM software, which is a customer relationship management software, and just began to hammer away at it. When I say hammer away, the next step was to create some sort of personalized content. So back when I worked in the financial field, my boss would expect me to just get on the phone and call these people and just get them on the phone and, begin to pitch services. And that really doesn't work. It's in my opinion, it's kind of rude. What I want to do is warm them up a little bit and build some trust and authority. So what I do is I create a screencast, and I'll show you exactly what this looks like. I'll show you what to include. And again, I want to emphasize that you're going to have to think outside the box. This is for my industry, but you can very much apply it to yours. If you're a social media person, maybe you focus on how you can improve their social media profiles and walk through it. But the key here is personalizing it. So let me pull up very quickly the video, and it's not going to have audio. So this is a video. I'll just start at the beginning. I create these. This is for a place in Norwalk. It's a chiropractic center. So I start out and introduce myself, and I start to walk through. Hold on one sec. Let me refresh the page. I start to walk through different improvements that I can make. I'm showing him here. Where did I get to it? I show him how his site looks on the phone. I show him what a responsive website looks like. I show him some directory listings that he's missing. Again, I build value. I basically make it so it's like, a step-by-step toolkit. And then at the end, I show who I am and introduce myself. And I also say within that I'm going to contact him to follow up in about a week. So let me just walk through that again. I create this screencast. It's personalized content. I make some recommendations that he can improve. Just say it's valuable information. What I do is I upload that to a private channel on YouTube. I also burn it to a CD, right? Because what I do next is I connect with that person on LinkedIn. I email them with this templated letter saying, hey, here's some highlights from the video. Here's a link to watch it. It's private, don't worry. But then I also take it a step further, and I burn that video to a CD, and I send what's called a lump email. And what that looks like is a padded envelope with the CD, with a letter and my business card. I say, hey, I just wanted to create this for you, introduce myself, some tips that's going to help your website improve. No obligation. I'm going to call you in a week. I got a couple other things to share with you. All right. So the reason we send it in a padded envelope is because no one throws out a padded envelope. I haven't had anyone, I'll call them and say, yeah, I received the envelope, and I open it up. We email because also it's easier for them to just click a link to watch the video as well. So now we've started to build a little trust, right? So when we call, we're not just some random dude barging in and trying to take up their time. So the next step that I have is about a week later, I call with a phone follow-up. I always use a script. Again, anyone who's ever done any outbound sales, you have to have a script. You have to have the right tone of voice and know how to accentuate certain words and just be a machine. I get in the zone, I stand, I move around, and I just pound through that list. And I call, and I have the exact sequence of words that's been most effective for me. The purpose of a cold call is to move them to a scheduled interaction series. If you've seen my sales presentations, you know what this means. But in a nutshell, when I call them, all I say is, look, I know you're busy. I don't want to keep you on the phone. Let's just set up a time to talk. Open up your calendar. If you have a minute, we'll talk a couple days out. We'll both have time to prepare when we're both not, run around like crazy. Fair to you? It will generally take about 6 to 7 times before you can get through to people. You leave messages, and it's around that 6th or 7th time when you can really get through and just say, hey, you want to have a conversation? I'd be happy to help. Generally around the 7th time. If I can't, I'll just let them know, hey, I can close out your file. It's no problem. I don't want to harass you. If I have them on the phone and they're too busy to set up any kind of, consultation, they say, maybe down the road, I say, hey, no problem. By the way, I have this event coming up. It's about online marketing. Feel free to send one of your employees to get them into door to, again, offer them something free of value to help them out. The next thing I also do is I add them to the mailing list. I ask them, hey, I'd like to keep in touch. If that's cool with you, I send out a lot of tips for business owners like yourself to help you improve your business. Is that all right to do? And generally they'll say yes. Remember, dogged persistence. You have to go and constantly, and I see someone asking a question, I will get to all questions at the end. I just saw that thing glowing. Be doggedly persistent. Expect about 6 to 7 calls just to get through to the people. Sorry if I'm cutting a little bit off, but just be really persistent and make it happen. Look, on a good, percentage basis, 12% of actually initiating contact and working through with people is solid. And that's way better than 2% when you're actually not even sending personalized content. So the way I'm tying this all together in 2015 is I'm joining all the Chamber of Commerce in my area to get their list, hosting quarterly education-based events. So I'm going to do first quarter, how to use Facebook ads. I don't know, some sort of topic. I'm going to host it at a hotel. I'm going to spend a little money marketing the event, get all these businesses to come in and just host this whole education series to educate them and position myself as a figure of authority. Now, cold outreach, obviously, but why this works. So that was the outbound approach. Inbound and outbound. The theme here is there's a couple reasons that this works. Number one, because you're building authority. In my area, I'm the go-to guy for web design and WordPress. And there's no reason why any of you can't be the go-to person for your specific consulting business. You're also building assets. So the more writing you're doing, the more, sorry about that, thin windows in here. The more blogging you're doing and things like that, the more assets you have that you can continuously repackage, repurpose. I have presentations now that are videotaped that I can then shop around, post on YouTube, things like that. But most importantly, you're building trust. You're putting yourself out there, positioning yourself as an expert, and people now trust you. You're the person they turn to for advice, and that is what consulting is all about. However, right? However, and I got thrown this however, if you don't do this properly, when you're applying it incorrectly, and by incorrectly, I mean you don't have the scripts, you don't have the templates, you're going to be really spinning your wheels. You're going to be wasting a lot of time, an enormous amount of time and energy, taking a lot of this stuff and just duplicating your efforts, not knowing the right stuff to say, trying through trial and error. It's a painful way to learn. And that is why I created the course, The Six-Figure Freelancer. So the Six-Figure Freelancer is something I've been working on for a while. It's really my what I hope will be my flagship product. And this is the first time that I'm really rolling it out and talking about it. So that's why I'm very excited for everyone here tonight. And what it is it's the kickoff is Saturday, November 15th. It starts with a full day in-person workshop in Norwalk at the Courtyard Marriott Hotel. So I want to make it really lavish because this is a huge event, and we're going to take a full day workshop, dive into the material that I'll get to in a second. So that's how it starts. The next thing is just as exciting for me. It's a 3-month mastermind group. So every other week for 90 minutes, after we get to know each other in person, we meet bi-weekly for 90 minutes and really dig into the material. And we're setting goals for one another. We're holding each other accountable and really helping each other grow. My goal is for everyone to come out of this completely transformed, not just professionally, but also personally as well. And I'm also including that 30-minute one-on-one consultation, either on the phone or in person. You're more than happy to come to my office. I'm very personally invested in my students' success. And obviously what's included is all my exact scripts and templates for you to modify and use on your own, whether it's proposals, checklists, blueprints, whatever. I go through everything, the exact stuff that I use on a day-to-day basis that's allowed me to grow my business very, very quickly. And that also includes, as you get to know me, introductions to people in the area that could potentially help your business as well. Now, I'm including some bonus material here too, because I really want to make this the most value-added thing that you can possibly have. So I am no longer going to be doing my Illuminate WP, which is my WordPress and search engine optimization training courses. So I'm giving those each cost $399 a piece. I'm giving them to you for free. The search engine optimization guide, the guide on how to effectively use WordPress to build and manage a basic site. I'm giving all of you that information completely for free, all the digital products. And I'm also giving you lifetime access to the online library for the Six-Figure Freelancer that I'm starting to build now. And that's all the digital assets that you can refer to at any time they're updated down the road. I want you to always have the latest and greatest material. So a couple testimonials. I know Kathy's on here, so she'll appreciate this. So Kathy took my search engine optimization course, and this was her feedback. I attended Clint's one-day workshop, and it was bar none the best investment of my time and money. He took the guesswork out, shared his extensive knowledge, and gave actionable tools and strategies I can implement right away. I thank you very much, Kathy, for your kind words. Now, this was for a course, the SEO course, that I'm giving away for free as part of this. And I also have a testimonial. This is someone I'm mentoring now, Justin Green, who's starting out as a freelancer, and just walks through, working with Clint allowed me to see how to qualify clients, the sales process, strategies to close out a deal. What really has been amazing working with Justin is that we really dive into a lot of personal development. And that's something that obviously I struggled with early on as a freelancer, because I really had to relearn how to live. I had to reinvent myself. And I have a lot of tools and strategies to really prime people to put you in the mindset of success. So what the course material looks like is the first part is laying the foundation. And that's all of the mindset, all the stuff that I've never heard in any other freelancing or consulting course, tips on health and nutrition, time management, maximizing productivity, being the most professional person possible. How do you get people so that they become raving fans that you are the best, most professional, reliable person you've ever worked with? I'm going to teach you an online presence that converts, right? I'm not going to give you, how to set up your first website. I can give you that material, no problem. But I want to show you really how to leverage an online presence that starts making you serious money. And then my favorite part, the marketing and sales. So this was one piece of the marketing segment. And then the sales, once you get these people contacting you, how do you close them? How do you charge more money? How do you make sure that you never lose out a deal? How do you move people effortlessly through the sales process so you actually enjoy selling? I will go through all of that with my tried and true strategies. And then for the client process, how do I make this so that it's as smooth and painless as possible, so that it's a pleasure to work with? My goal in any project is to have it be the best experience with another person that client has ever had in their life, to make it just an absolute pleasure to work with me. And I'll show you all the tools and procedures that I use to make it as seamless as possible. I'll show you my exact toolkit, all the tools I use to be able to effortlessly manage multiple projects. And last but not least, how to scale your business. How do I go from a one-man shop and begin to hire people and grow and have all the systems in place so I don't experience these crazy growing pains that you hear about? So I'm going to go through all of that. That's all part of the course material. Now, this course is not for everybody. So I just want to let you know that this course is not for a couple types of people. Number one, if you're not willing to put in the time and effort day in and day out to build your business, not for you. It's certainly a lot of work. It was for me. And if you're looking to make a quick buck in some sort of get-rich internet scheme, again, not for you. If you can't think for yourself, if you need me to literally do everything for you, again, it's not for you. Freelancing as a whole is probably not for you. However, there's a lot of people who it is for. If you are willing to put in that time and energy to build your business, it's for you. If you want to make that leap and do it today, because you need to take action right now. If you're at a point where you say, well, my business is where it was a month ago, a year ago, 6 months ago, whatever, I need to know I do something different. This is perfect for you. This is the step that will move you to the next level, because I've pieced together from tens of thousands of dollars in training that I knew I needed to take. And I was so glad that I made that investment. And if you're ready to make this the best fourth quarter of your career, this is right for you. Now, I thought also, who is this course for? I wanted to clarify one thing, because I had people ask me, they say, well, is it just for web design? No. If you're a freelance, a self-employed consultant in any industry, social media, IT, marketing, web design, web development, even health and wellness specialists, PR specialists, you will benefit from this course. It's going to show you how to properly consult, how to charge more for your services, how to scale. And I thought, I also want to include a guarantee. Now, any course that I've created, I always do a 30-day unconditional money back guarantee. It's completely up to you. I'm not going to say this is going to be the best course that you've ever taken. If you don't like it, I'll give you your money back. No problem. I've never had anyone exercise a money back guarantee. However, for the first time, I'm doing something I've never heard done before, and that's I'm doing a 6-month conditional double money back guarantee. So I hear people say, what does that mean? All right, so let me sort of break this down for you. I'm so convinced that this will be the best material that you've ever come across, that you've ever taken and implemented, that I'm going to give you 6 months. If you can come back to me and document that you've applied everything in the workbook, been on every session, invested that time and energy, and it doesn't dramatically transform your life or business, I will double what you paid. I'm a man of my word. I didn't grow my business quickly by screwing people over and lying to people. So that's my commitment to you. I really want to see you succeed. I want you to know there's absolutely nothing to lose. And I thought about how to price it. I know I could have priced it very high. Generally, these types of courses run $1,500 to $2,000. But I said, you know what? I want to make it as accessible as possible. So I thought about the pricing, and what I ended up settling out was $649. However, $649 includes everything I talked about: in-person workshop, mastermind, one-on-one, all the bonus material, everything. Because you guys have joined me tonight and it's the official kickoff, I'm going to give a special discount code that I'm going to show you right now to knock 20% off that price. It's going to bring it to a little over $500. That discount code will be valid through Sunday till midnight. 20% off. Those of you who want to act right now and do so before midnight tonight, I'm going to throw in a little added bonus and give you an additional hour of one-on-one consulting time. So that gives you an hour and a half. You can come down to my office, sit with me, and we'll map out exactly what your goals are, and I'll show you how to get there. And we'll work through and get you to that point over a 3-month period. So that's my promise to you. You can go to, and we'll do questions in a sec. I'm just going to go to the sales page here. If you go to clintwarren.com/6FF up here, and you can just click right here. The registration for this round closes on Sunday. You click, it'll take you to the Eventbrite page, and under promotional code 6FF20, apply, and they'll knock the price down. And like I said, if you apply that tonight and sign up for this course and take action, I will throw in an extra hour of consulting time. It's my promise to you. I guarantee that this will be one of the best investments you'll ever make. You can click to enter the registration page. I will email you guys and let you know. Now, let's get to the questions, because I know there's probably going to be a couple in here. So let's open it up. I have some people who have some questions. I'm going to see here, Kathy. Okay, so Kathy's question is, do you recommend outsourcing the writing of a blog? Saves time. So Kathy, I will respond to that a couple ways. I have never personally outsourced the writing of a blog. However, I do know some excellent services. I can show you one. I'm going to type it in here, Ghost Blog Writers.com. And actually that was referenced to me by Brian Castle, and he's had pretty good success with it. Now, Brian uses that for one of his startup businesses. I personally, I've never used that for my personal blogging because I like to do really comprehensive articles. But if you're just trying to target certain keywords, yes, I think that would be an excellent time-saving resource. I actually, for my clients, I have several clients that I have online marketing packages with, where I'll spend about $110 per blog post and have a really high quality blog post written for them. So I would say, it's really up to you. I enjoy doing the research and figuring it out on my own because it just allows me to build my thirst for knowledge, but certainly that's an option as well, outsourcing it. I have another question. Okay, so what if I'm too new to my industry to start a blog? This is by Nuts for Bolts. So my answer to that would be you're never too new, right? Because your first step, and I cover this in my course, is building technical mastery. So everything that you're learning, the best way to learn stuff is to learn it, find mentors, figure out the best resources, apply it, and then teach it. Teaching helps reinforce what you've learned. And in my experience, it helps me learn better when I'm organizing the stuff in my head and then being able to explain it to someone else. So that was my answer for that, Nuts for Bolts. I have another question here. If you're spending a lot of time trying to make a connection and a sale, it would seem all the more important to make sure you're going after the right people. What tips do you have to cut through the weeds and identify the right people in a large organization? This is Hank. So one of the tools that I use is LinkedIn. And what I'll do is I'll start to identify, I'll first look on the company pages, but then typically I'll start with the owner. So some of my targets, I don't do a ton of larger organizations, but I do a lot of small to mid-sized businesses. And I'll typically start by going after the owner. And I'll just look on the website and see who they are. There's another cool tool because sometimes I'll show you, Hank, this is for you. On Manta.com, let's pull this up. Manta.com provides a database. So let's say chiropractor near Norwalk. So you can actually look up businesses and see who owns it. You know, chiropractor is a bad example. Atlas Chiropractor, Westchester. And they'll actually list annual revenue estimate. A lot of times, okay, company contacts, Louis Bisogni. So a lot of times this is a good tool that I use to basically find out who the decision maker is, who the principal is. Basically, I'm looking at another question here. Basically, I also cross-reference that with LinkedIn. So like if it might be someone in the IT department, I'll start to bounce around. And sometimes what I'll do when calling, if I get to the gatekeeper, is ask, because sometimes they'll hit a roadblock. They'll say, well, he's just too busy. What are you calling about? Say, I sent a package about a website. Might there be another person? Because sometimes I'll get in touch and they'll say, well, Mike is actually the one who handles all the website stuff. He would be the better person to talk to. And then now I'm put in touch with Mike. He's got less on his plate and I can open the conversation with him. So hopefully, Hank, that answers your question. Kathy is asking, seminar begins November 15th. You also have one that starts in the new year. My answer to that at this point is no. I don't know when I'm going to offer this course again. Let me just hit my screensaver. At this point, I don't know when I'm going to offer the course again. So I can't really guarantee that I'll have one in the new year. This is sort of, at this point, this is the only one I have on the books because it will have the mastermind group for 3 months after that. Anyone else? Questions, comments, concerns? If I don't see any more, I'm going to thank you guys. Again, it has been a tremendous pleasure tonight. We went a little bit overboard. It's 8:53. I was aiming for 45 minutes. But again, thank you so much. I am going to send you guys copies of the slides. Feel free to check out those blog posts on how to optimize and everything. It's really been a pleasure. Please, any feedback or anything, always appreciated. Once again, all the information right here. I'll send you a link tonight as well. Think about it. Definitely make the decision if you really want to take your business to the next level to sign up and move it forward. And I would love to help you do that. So thanks again, guys. Appreciate you taking the time. And I'll send out a recording as well so you can look back and review the slides. Thanks again, guys. Have a wonderful night. Take care.